Welcome back, everyone. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a comparison between the newly released Samsung Galaxy S21 and the somewhat older Samsung Galaxy S8. Now, what I can tell you about both these phones is that obviously the Galaxy S21 is the better phone in every single dimension, but when I feel both phones in the hand, when I look at them, I don't really feel like this phone came out in 2017. This phone came out just right now, and it doesn't really feel like these phones are that big of a difference. You know what I mean? Like if I was in the Galaxy S8 era in 2017 and I was looking at, a phone that came out 4 years prior, that's a pretty big difference. Between these two, there's really not that crazy of a difference, but there are some huge differences for sure. But if you want to pick up the cheapest ones of the Galaxy S21, I'll leave a link down below, as well as like a Galaxy S10, maybe an S10, maybe even a Galaxy S20. I really wouldn't recommend people to buy Galaxy S8 anymore, mostly because it is pretty outdated. But regardless, you can still pick them up from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, looking on the front, the Samsung Galaxy S8, first of all, side by side, you can kind of see that the S21 is the bigger phone in pretty much every dimension. It's longer, it's wider. As expected, it's a newer phone. The Samsung Galaxy S8 on the front has that 5.8-inch Super AMOLED display. It's 1440p, and it's a really, really good panel. I've pretty much hyped this panel up for the entirety of this phone's, whole entire life cycle. I've always felt like it was a really good panel. When you look at it, especially when you look at the sides, this thing has the curved sides on it, which are beautiful. The Samsung Galaxy S21 has a flat display, take it as you will, but it's a 1440p panel, higher resolution than the Samsung Galaxy S21, and it's a very, very good panel. No matter what you do with it, no matter how you look at it, it is a beautiful panel for sure. Where the Samsung Galaxy S21 has a 6.2-inch dynamic AMOLED display, and this is what I'll tell you. It's a 1080p panel. It is technically a lower resolution than the Samsung Galaxy S8, but I would still rather have this panel than the S8, mostly because of the hole punch display. It's a better looking phone because of that fingerprint sensor in the display, but you also have that 120 Hz refresh rate, and if you don't know what that means, basically the screen refreshes at a higher rate, so everything looks a little bit smoother, and the Galaxy S8 still has that 60 Hz panel. So just that in and of itself, the Galaxy S21 was the better one here for sure, but it's still surprising to me that a phone that came out in 2017, this one that costs substantially less than this one, is actually kind of better in some areas, and that's very surprising to me. On the bottom, USB Type-C ports on both. The Galaxy S8 does have that headphone jack. Surprisingly enough, and this is very, very important, thinness-wise, they kind of have the same thing going on. I don't really feel like one's, maybe the Galaxy S21 is thicker, but the Galaxy S8 has that microSD card slot, where the Samsung Galaxy S21 does not have a microSD card slot anymore. Now, that in and of itself is a pretty big difference to me, because the Galaxy S8 had that capability, the Galaxy S21 doesn't have that capability, and that's a pretty major difference in my opinion. So in terms of that, in terms of the outside, even on the back, this is another big thing I almost forgot to mention: glass back on the Samsung Galaxy S8, plastic back on the Samsung Galaxy S21. A Samsung flagship device, from the S series of Samsung, hasn't had a plastic back since the Samsung Galaxy S5. The Galaxy S8's back feels so good, it feels extremely premium in the hand. The Samsung Galaxy S21 actually looks better, I think, but it doesn't feel better. It actually feels a lot better when it's colder, but when it's warm, you can definitely feel like it's plastic for sure. So in terms of the outsides, that pretty much covers it up for the most part. Now, I think the biggest difference between these two phones, more so than the hardware, more so than the microSD card slot support not being on the S21 but being on the S8, would probably be because of the software. Right now, this is always the biggest difference between these two phones, because it's the number one thing that people are always just interacting with on their device. The Samsung Galaxy S8 hasn't gotten an update in a very long time. The Samsung Galaxy S21 is just getting started with software. There still may be some security updates on this device, but for the most part, you're going to be outdated. The Samsung Galaxy S8 only got One UI 1. We are right now on One UI 3 point something on the Samsung Galaxy S21. So we are already ahead of the Samsung Galaxy S8. It's not getting any more software updates for the most part. Now, if you get the Exynos version, you can custom ROM it. Unfortunately, I have, Snapdragons in my country, but this specific Galaxy S21 is going to substantially outlast the Galaxy S8 in every single dimension that you look at it. And that's an extremely important thing to keep in mind. So at the end of the day, you are getting way more software versions on the Galaxy S21 than the Samsung Galaxy S8, and I think that's the number one difference between these two, and one reason why I would recommend going from a Samsung Galaxy S8 to the S21. The feeling in the hand, the panels, the performance even, a lot of these things can be overlooked a little bit, but with more software updates, you're almost guaranteed more security. When you're on an outdated version of software like this, you're kind of leaving yourself up to a lot of security risks. But on top of that, outdated softwares have less features. So that's a pretty big thing to keep in mind. But going on with that, you're going to be getting much better battery life from the Samsung Galaxy S21 as well. You're going to be getting a bigger battery on the S21 with a more optimized software, with a low resolution display. You're kind of getting way better battery life from the Samsung Galaxy S21 than the Samsung Galaxy S8 as well. So this right here, those two things I just mentioned are in fact the biggest difference between these two phones, and probably the number one reason why I would recommend going from a Samsung Galaxy S8 to the Samsung Galaxy S21 mostly would just be because of the software and a tad of the battery life. So in terms of that, that pretty much covers it up. Now let's go ahead and do a little bit of a speed comparison between both these phones. Now the Samsung Galaxy S8 had that Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 chipset inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy S21 has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset inside of it with 8 gigabytes of RAM, so twice the amount of RAM on this phone than this phone. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both of these. Okay, now that we're back, let's go and start loading these things up. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And I think the Galaxy S21 was for sure faster there. Let's do camera, 3, 2, 1. And I think the Samsung Galaxy S21 again was the faster one there. Let's go and do Play Store, 3, 2, 1. And again, the Samsung Galaxy S21 is faster. We did get into a little bit of a different pop-up. And again, they had to verify me. I don't get it because they had to verify me last time too. So I guess it's whatever. Now, as always, I have a bunch of these third-party apps that we can go and get into. Let's get Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. And I would definitely say the Samsung Galaxy S21 again was the faster one there. Let's go ahead and do, I would say Dune, but I don't have it here. Let's do Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And I'm just gonna say I knew the S21 was gonna be faster. The Galaxy S8 a little bit behind, still not like a crazy big difference, but the S21 is the faster one here for sure. Getting into some gameplay, as always, I don't think we're gonna see a crazy big difference between the two, but I'd probably still say the S21 was the faster one. Let's go and do stack, 3, 2, 1. And I think the Samsung Galaxy S21 was the faster one to get into the ad there. So again, another W for the S21. Let Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And I have to say this, I'm always happier when the newer phones are faster. I don't want the older phones to be faster than the newer ones. I spent more money of my own personal money on this device, so I want it to be faster than this one. This is my older phone, you know what I mean? Now this one is very interesting because for sure the S21 was faster, but it actually really wasn't that big of a difference. I was actually more shocked that the S8 was closer to the S21. I thought there was going to be a way bigger difference, but I mean, gameplay wise, it's probably going to be about the same too. I don't really see one kind of, messing up here. So we'll go and hop out of this one too. Let's go into the next app. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. Now, as I mentioned before, now just look at that little app opening speed. Look how like glitched up a look on this phone. Now, there was a little bit of an update that happened, so the S21 is still faster. Yes, they took a little bit of time, but like I said, there was an update. That's why it looks like they're two different versions, because they really are two different versions. Hopping out of this app, let's go ahead and do Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. And the S21 again is faster. The S8 a little bit behind. You can actually see all that burn-in that I have on that display. BOFA, 3, 2, 1. And again, app opening speed is so much faster on the S21. It's so much smoother as well. So another W for the S21. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. And again, the S21 is a faster one. So actually, every single app that we tested here was actually faster on the Samsung Galaxy S21. And I'm really happy about that. I'm really happy to see the older phone being slower in a way. Now, I will go and hop out of this. Let's go ahead and just get into phone calls. Let's just do some RAM management tests. And as always, I think they're going to be roughly about the same. But again, you're getting twice the amount of RAM on the Samsung Galaxy S21. So keep that in mind. You're definitely going to be getting probably a better overall life cycle of RAM on the Samsung Galaxy S21. Now you can see it did restart on a couple of them, but I don't know because it was loaded on those two. If this one restarts on the S21, then there is actually a pretty big problem because the S8 did not restart. So clicking on here, so they both didn't restart, which is surprising. I'm actually was kind of expecting the S8 to do a little bit worse here, but it really wasn't. Hopping into this one, both kind of, are the same. So I think in terms of the, speed comparison in general, I think both did a pretty good job. I was expecting the S8 to do worse, and it actually did better, but will definitely tell you the Galaxy S21 for sure is the faster one here. So in terms of that, that pretty much covers up the speed comparison. Let's go and hit on the cameras. Now, as I talked about previously, the Samsung Galaxy S8 has a single camera lens, a wide-angle lens. The Samsung Galaxy S21 has a wide-angle lens, telephoto lens, and an ultra-wide sensor as well. Now, in terms of the UIs, as always, there's going to be some differences. I really do like the UI on the newer, obviously the Galaxy S21s. Since One UI 2, it's been a little bit of an update, and I really do like it, but they still kind of look about the same, which is very interesting. So at the end of the day, I mean, the UIs are kind of the same, but there's so much more capability on the S21. You have 4K 60 on the front camera, only 1440p here. You can do 4K at 30 on the back of the S20, on the back of the S8, but you can do 8K on the back of the Galaxy S21, which is just another huge W in my opinion. Now, the Samsung Galaxy S8's camera, I've talked about this camera for a very, very long time, for many years now, and I've always said that it was a pretty decent camera sensor. I don't think it was perfect. I don't think it was perfect when it first came out, but I think in this day and age, it's still a really decent camera setup. I think the things that limit it the most, though, probably be actually, I think the software is kind of limiting in some ways compared to something like the S21, but more so than that, you're only getting a single sensor on the back. That is already kind of like something that doesn't rub me the right way, but also only like 1440p on the front camera. That's another area where I wish this camera had a little bit of a, I guess a little bit more of an update, but again, that's where the S21 comes in. On the S21, it really kind of fixes up all the problems that we had on the Samsung Galaxy S8. You're getting more camera sensors, you're getting 4K at 60 on the front, you're getting, I guess, a better UI with more features at the end of the day too. And I think at the end of the day, that really just kind of is like the no-brainer here. The Samsung Galaxy S21 is the better camera sensor, 100% of the fact. But as I stated before, I think the Samsung Galaxy S8 still does a decent job for the price tag. I don't think it's perfect. I don't even think it's that awesome, but it's pretty good. And the fact that the whole entire package has a camera, this sensor, I think it's pretty decent in my opinion. So in terms of the camera, the Galaxy S21 wins, but the Galaxy S8 isn't too far behind. So to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, is the Samsung Galaxy S8, should you go and upgrade, I guess, from your S8 to the S21? Should you buy an S21 instead of the S8, or should you wait? This is what I'll tell you. The Samsung Galaxy S8, I think, is an okay phone in this day and age compared to the Samsung Galaxy S21. There are still areas, though, where the Samsung Galaxy S8 actually overtakes and beats the Samsung Galaxy S21. I think in terms of build quality, the Samsung Galaxy S8 feels like the better phone in the hand. The Galaxy S21 still feels good and everything, but the plastic back really rubs me the wrong way. I also like that curved display. It makes it feel a little bit different. The S21, in my opinion, feels too much like the A series of devices. If you know what the A series are, they're basically like the budget tier phones. The Samsung Galaxy S21 kind of feels and looks like that device now. The Galaxy S8 felt more like the premium S series of device because of the glass and everything and the curved panel. So that's another big point. You're getting a high resolution panel on the S21, a headphone jack. You're getting a high resolution panel on the Galaxy S8, a headphone jack, and a micro SD card slot, which are huge things. The Samsung Galaxy S21, though, is still the phone I would recommend 100% of the fact. And it comes to what I mentioned early on in this video, which was the software. The Samsung Galaxy S21 is just getting so many more updates to it, and it's just a no-brainer. This phone is going to outlast the Samsung Galaxy S8 year after year after year. This phone is already outdated. This phone is still getting software updates. It's only just gotten started. So that's a pretty big advantage that you're getting on this phone than the Galaxy S8. So I don't want to sit here and say the Galaxy S8 is a useless phone, because it's not. This phone still has a lot of characteristics that the S21 doesn't have, but because of the software and also a mixture of the camera, the performance increase, the smoothness factor, the 120 Hz, the fingerprint sensor in the display, this is more of a package, and the fact that Samsung decreased it by $100 too is a pretty big deal. But I still think the Galaxy S8 is a pretty decent phone, but you don't have to go to the S21. I think the Galaxy S20, with its price decrease, with the quality of the phone that you're getting, and the fact that it's almost the same thing as the S21, it's an even better phone than the S21, it's just like a no-brainer. I would go for the Galaxy S20 to be, in my opinion. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly, everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.